Today we're going to dive into a project analysis with a special interview I think you guys don't want to miss. It's going to be a good one. It's all about SUI. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into TechPath. I do want to thank our sponsor today, and that is Tangem. If you're looking at self-custody and you want to start your journey, one place to go is to Tangem. Visit tangem.com. You can get in and put your cards on order there, get the 3-card set. These are cards that work in coordination with a great app, very secure, and also very easy to set up. So if you are new to self-custody, this would be a great place to start. And of course, you can do all your trading, swapping, as well as sending tokens in and out of there. Very cool app. We use it all the time here. Use our code to get a little bit off there and help the channel. I want to jump into the topic today, and that is SUI. And many people have been asking us, Paul, you guys should talk more about what's happening in the SUI ecosystem. So we started doing that a little bit more. We reached out to the SUI team. We're going to have Evan Cheng on here in a second, but I want to talk a little bit about their TVL. So this particular chain has started to really explode during this bull run. The real question, I think a lot of investors are looking at this, could this be the next Solana for this bull run? Maybe we'll find out today. Some other things, if you just look at the transaction numbers, look how fast this thing is moving in terms of percentage of growth. This is pretty significant, and I like the fact that we're seeing this happen on a chain that is starting to deploy in a lot of different areas. So joining me today is Mr. Evan Cheng, who is the CEO and co-founder over at Mysten Labs. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me. It's great to see you, Paul, and hello to everyone who's watching this.
You bet. So Evan, let's dive into a little bit about Mysten Labs and what you guys are doing within the SUI ecosystem. Give me a framework of where you guys are in terms of size, team structure. What are some of the core missions you guys are working on now?
So there's a split between the labs and the foundation. I think the foundation is about 40 plus people. The Mysten Labs side is bigger. We're over 100, probably 150 people.
Okay.
Mostly building tech, mostly building product. That's our bread and butter. We're deeply invested. So we're kind of one team very, very passionate about bringing about decentralization to the internet.
You guys have really started to be known for transaction speed. And you look at transaction speed in comparison, SUI has really started to balloon over just this last little bit. And many people would look to Solana as being one of the faster chains out there. SUI, in fact, is even faster than Solana. And within this, when you look at transaction speed and you look at the narratives behind many of the different industries that are going to benefit from this, gaming, possibly finance transactions, all sorts of business and industry, where do you feel that SUI could potentially fit in and really solve big problems?
Yeah, so first of all, we position SUI as the coordination layer. It's the ultimate developer platform, right? So if you think about what a developer needs, they want infrastructure to get out of the way to solve problem for them, to serve them the product, right? You don't want them to think about all the complexity, right? So we think more in terms of that, right? So if you have a developer platform, right, people are used to using cloud infrastructure, you don't want to think about capacity limitation, right? So when SUI came out, the first most important design is the architecture allow us to get to the point where there's no constraints on capacity ever. People talk about scalability, TPS. SUI has the design to get us to the point where there's never going to be any kind of limitation in terms of the capacity. More demand, more capacity, elasticity. So then we started addressing the speed problem, right? So when we think about speed, it's really about response time, latency, end-to-end latency. There's a lot of different components. Usually there is a trade-off between capacity and latency, but we solved that problem. So with Mysten, we are now looking at P50, which is like average transaction, anywhere in the world well under a second now. Like real end-to-end, you're doing a swap, right? People have been posting screenshots. I got 700 millisecond, I got 750, right? It's almost like a game. And the important things to point out here is this is not like other blockchains that you may be familiar with. So Solana, Ethereum, their consensus model means it's not really, really necessary confirmed, right? It's like there's still going to be potential fork, right? So the actual settlement latency is higher. as a result. We are like hard latency, right? So that's the way you can think of it. It's like hard, right? There's nothing that can change it. And we also think in terms of round trip, right? It's like how many round trip you need to do across the world and network limitations, right? It's like if you get to like 1.5 round trip, that you getting to that point where you need to then think about optimizing the layer under, which is it's a different set of problem. We'll work on that as well.
So I like to hear those words, in the sense that things are happening at speed and in which we've seen with blockchain before. The other thing that occurs often with blockchains is uptime. And if you kind of look at I'll zoom in on this right here, is mainnet status over outages, partial outages. The ones we compare against, I would say, Solana, Ton is in here, and then Aptos, all of which have had outages throughout, 19.6, 2 days. SUI has been pretty much on cue for being up in terms of a network. Obviously, that works very specifically for a lot of different platforms, including payments, also gaming ecosystems, developers that are really starting to try to get into things that really require uptime as a key component there. What is it that makes you guys capable of performing like this? Explain that.
Well, first is the design, right? You can't engineer your way out of a bad design. A lot of blockchains are going to continue to have those kind of problems because there's design issues, right? This is why it's very, very important for us to assure everything has kind of have been validated by the scientific community, right? At the protocol level. Then you basically engineer the best system based on that design. And then you have operational kind of excellence to be able to monitor and watch anything, right? So because nobody's perfect. We like to keep 100% uptime. So far we have been doing a great job. We expect that will be, we'll continue to have the best performing and the best trusted kind of platform here, knock on wood. We like to keep that, but even the best of the best in the centralized world have had downtime. We just want to, kind of do our best to make sure that minimize that to as much as possible. Because when you lose when you go down, your developers' livelihoods are impacted, right?
Yeah.
And people talk about, well, if you still, the money is not lost, what's a big deal?
Well, it's the sentiment, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not even a sentiment, right? Think about a business that cannot,
exactly,
kind of handle transaction for hours on end. They lose their livelihood.
A couple of news items that are breaking here, not immediately, but I'll kind of zoom in on this for you a little bit. Circle's native USDC now coming to SUI. So there'll be cross-chain transfer protocols available over there. And that's going to be huge for, I think, SUI in general, just from a liquidity standpoint, but in the aspect of stablecoins and what we might see in terms of what you're talking about here in terms of kind of leading the market, because this is something I think that has really helped Solana. It's probably helped AVAX to a certain extent. And obviously this could help you guys. Tell me a little bit more about that partnership.
Well, first of all, Circle has been a great partner. We've been working with them for a while, and very, very glad we're finally to the point it's about to launch, right? So that's exciting. Why is the stablecoin important? Well, it's really the only tokenized asset right now that has product market fit, can be used for a lot of different things, right? DeFi and payments, and you name it. Commerce is going to be powered by stablecoin, so it's really, really critical. So it's amazing, right? SUI's DeFi has been such a vibrant ecosystem, even without native stablecoin. We've only until the last few months, a couple of months, we have the native stablecoin coming on board, right? Such as Agora stablecoins and others.
Right.
It's just adds friction. When you don't have it, people manage to get it, right? We have a lot of liquidity coming from Ethereum and other platforms, but wrapping and using bridge, right? That adds complexity, the adds friction, and adds security risk, right? So this is eliminating that. So we're extremely happy to be where we are. That the Circle doesn't mint USDC on any blockchain. Usually it's their level of kind of a maturity and growth for them to consider, especially outside the EVM ecosystem. So we're very, very happy at this time around with the first one.
One thing though that is impressive is just the cost. 900, this is crazy. 14 times cheaper than Solana, 900 times cheaper than Ethereum right now to do a SUI transaction, which is pretty significant. This of course could have, I think, a unbelievable effect on gaming, possibly these high frequency transactions, most likely we're going to see in payments. Where do you guys see this as being maybe the home run, kind of the killer app, so to speak, coming out of Silicon Valley in terms of just costs being so low?
Everything will require some kind of like response, right? So everything that happen on the internet, a lot of transactions are free. That has a cost associated with it, right? This is why it's like the internet is so big, right? It's
Yeah.
if there's a high overhead for doing anything, sending an email, people would
Yeah.
not we have to think twice, right? I mean,
It's the
there's
race to
downside, right?
zero.
Spans and all
Yeah.
that, right? Exactly, right. So you need to let market dictates where it goes. So again, coming back to our design, there's no capacity limitation, there's no performance downside. Then the final element for allowing these kind of a transaction to proliferate is predictability of cost and the low cost, right? So we start with a low baseline, then we let the market dictate where they take them. What by market we means the validators. There is cost associated running a validator, but they pass on this cost saving to the user. So over time, as more and more transaction demands, you're going to see corresponding like decrease in cost, right? That's how free market works. That has always been the case. The most important thing is no surprise to user and developers, right? Again, we don't think in terms of like, okay, scaling means we hit some magic number, because you can fake it very, very easily. You can, you can lose money if you want to have low cost, but we want a validator to make money. But at the same time, the market competitiveness will drive the cost down. And it's predictable because then you don't never surprise, right? And so this is why we have a local fee market. It's like even if it's hot, the price is not just going to like spike high and then all of a sudden, it's like we talk about this noisy neighbor problem. It's like you have a noisy neighbor throwing a party, and all of a sudden all the roads are congested, right? And this is what happens on the Ethereum of the world. It's like some app demands all the attention, and make sure everybody's cost goes sky high, and then how do I do a business on a network like that, on infrastructure like that? It's just impossible.
Right. Hey, listen, for those of you who maybe you've never tried the SUI wallet, I would say go check it out, because we've tested this pretty significantly, been very pleased with the performance of it. We've done a tremendous amount of transactions within it. Great in terms of getting into some of the DeFi apps as well. Cetus is a good example of one that we played with pretty significantly. But anyway, go check it out. You guys can download it. It's in the Apple Store as well as the Chrome Store. But I would suggest that you do that.
For those of you who don't want the hassle of downloading a wallet, try out Get Stashed. If you don't know, our Stash wallet is a Web3 wallet. Anybody can use it. You have a social login like Gmail. You can like log in. Pretty soon connect with SUI and S, right? You can say, send a Paul at Paul Barron. That's it, right? So user readable kind of addresses, and very, very easy to get on. Send SUI to folks that don't have a wallet yet, right? For them to get on board. Like check out Get Stash as well.
I like it. Thanks for that tip. Let's get into what's happening with SUI Network when it comes to the gaming ecosystem. Right here, you guys announced SUI Play. For some of you guys, we've covered this quite a bit on the show. A very intriguing device, and I think it's also one that is starting to gain attention, not only in the gaming sector, but especially in crypto, where we'll start to see potentially a lot of games and developers going this direction. Can you tell us anything more around how you guys plan to build out on this, and what's the cycle of manufacturing, all that good stuff?
Well, so our great partner Playtron is designing the OS, and they have other partners and actually building the physical device. Obviously, we'll come together and sort of help design. This is why this, the device looks so slick. Should be happy with it. What I can say right now is coming soon. Like we don't see any issues.
No
that
delays.
This is going to get shipped like on time. So hopefully not a long way. With it, logistics is a challenging problem for everybody, but we don't anticipate delay at this point in time. Very, very excited about what's coming here, and more importantly, a lot of partners are signing up.
Yeah.
to distribute the games, right, and to offer that sort of like first kind of look at what Web3 does for gaming. That's exciting because this is about OS level integration with SUI. Right, this is
Yeah.
not just, oh yeah, let's add a wallet to a consumer
Exactly.
device,
Yeah.
and right, and that's powerful, and we're going to see get the first taste of it.
Evan, tell me if there's going to be any airdrops. Are we going to see an airdrop bonanza coming at this thing?
I think there will be partners that planning airdrops. I don't
It's the
know
only
all the
strategy,
details right
man.
here.
It's the way to go.
It's not the only strategy,
Well,
but it
tell me more.
is one of the strategy. Well, I mean, you can build a great game, people will play them, right? I
Okay,
play
sure.
games every day. It's my escape, right? Yeah, I think it's going to be a combination, right? You can build a real audience by just giving things away,
Yeah,
right? Because you're going to capture attention only so much. But if you build a great product and you have a way to acquire customer relatively seamlessly and easily with low friction for them to get on board, hey, it's a great way to get people on board and try things out. Free to play, pioneer that right, and that strategy to acquire customer, and this is sort of just another iteration of like, okay, try to solve the customer acquisition
for sure.
challenge, right? Yeah, I mean, otherwise you're spending money on ads, which is extremely expensive on iOS, in Android and other platforms. Why not give it directly to your will-be customers?
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Square Enix, of course, invested in Playtron for their Linux-based system on the Playtron OS. So we're going to see a lot of potential games coming to this platform pretty quickly. Do you think that we'll see a quick adoption of new games coming into this platform, or is this something we'll get a handful and then scale over time?
Well, I mean, the great thing with this device is play all the window-based games, right? So then that gives us the opportunity to have a pretty sizable user base from the beginning. Right. Maybe a lot of them just say, this is a great device. I don't need to buy a Steam Deck. I can buy this instead, right? So early on, right, it's our partners and many of the partners of Playtron are introducing a Web3 variants of the game, so to speak. And then we expect there will be an explosion, right? That's how things are, right? Because you experience benefit, right? Once you deliver value, consumer expect, hey, this is better, right? Why don't I play on this rather than another device, right? It has that great kind of virtuous cycle, getting more people to try this device, buy the device, and play games and play the Web3 variant of the game, and then that become the demand, increasing demand, and more developers say, why don't we do this, right? Relatively low friction to add, right? So that's the virtuous cycle we're going to see.
Yeah, for sure. Last question I have for you is talking about, and I looked at this the first time, and I'll be honest, I was pretty much a skeptic of this as to whether or not it could truly happen, and that is this whole idea of internetless transactions. So explain to me how you're pulling this off. Give me a little bit more of the technical analysis on how does this happen on SUI?
Yeah, I unfortunately am not Costas or cryptographer lead that going into the details, but using blockchain as a coordination layer, using SUI as a coordination layer, right? So now you have other ways for P2P connection and use the SUI to coordinate the activity. So that's how you replace the internet, so to speak, right? But you really think about the internet is you already have these physical connection for sending signals from one point to another. Then you need the TCP/IP, all the routing and all that things happen for it to go end to end. You can replace some of that coordination with a blockchain, right?
Okay.
Right. So if you have a connection, P2P connection, say with one of the nodes, right, that this could happen, radio waves and other things, but we're replacing the protocol layer.
Well, it starts to open up a lot more possibilities for sure. Evan Cheng, of course, coming over from Mysten Labs. So thank you so much for jumping in today. We appreciate your comments. Thanks for stopping in.
Thank you very much for having me. I had a great time.
Excellent. You bet. All right, so you guys maybe you're dialed in here on the podcast side of things. Jump over here to the YouTube channel. This is the place where you'll get more of our, premium content, I feel. And also you can join into our own Diamond Circle. That's our private member group. We do additional content over there. I do additional market reports over there. So check it out. Use the link down below to join that. Okay, of course, if you want to follow me on X, just hit me out there at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.